I want to return to our big breaking story tonight. Former Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, senior NCP leader from Sharad Pawar's party, Chhagan Bhujbal, arrested after 11 hours questioning by the Enforcement Directorate. Our Mumbai Bureau Chief Sahil Joshi and my colleague Rajdeep Sardesai are joining me on this broadcast. I want to go across to Sahil first. Sahil, what details can you give us? How was this decision to arrest Chhagan Bhujbal finally arrived at? Because this case has been going on for a while. How did they finally this evening take the decision to swoop in and arrest him?
See, there were two simultaneous investigations were on in Mumbai at this point of time. One by Anti-Corruption Bureau, in which Anti-Corruption Bureau filed one charge sheet, and it looks like that the ED was waiting that Anti-Corruption Bureau files a charge sheet in this particular case. So it filed a charge sheet about Anti-Corruption Bureau filed a charge sheet about how the PWD department, which Chhagan Bhujbal was heading, gave the contracts, and in receipt of that he received kickbacks, and that money was invested through a maze of companies in Chhagan Bhujbal and his nephew's project in Navi Mumbai, housing project in Navi Mumbai, Hex World. And ED was investigating into that particular allegation, that how these kickbacks were received by Bhujbal and his nephew and his son under the fake company's maze through Calcutta and other parts of the country. So this particular allegation was being investigated under PMLA Act, the Money Laundering Act, and now finally he has been arrested after the whole day interrogation by ED officials under 19(1), Section 19(1). He will be produced into PMLA court tomorrow morning, and after that it's likely that ED will be taking the custody of Chhagan Bhujbal, because it's mandatory that he will be getting at least they will be getting at least 14 days custody in this particular case.
I want to go across now to Rajdeep Sardesai. Rajdeep, Chhagan Bhujbal, the NCP immediately will claim that this is a political witch hunt, that the Modi government is coming against them because they are political opponents. How strong do you think the case that the Enforcement Directorate has against Chhagan Bhujbal?
Rahul, it is a very strong case. It is a case which has been building up for several years now. In fact, ever since the NCP lost power, there was a sense that Chhagan Bhujbal's time perhaps was up, because even in the period when the Congress NCP was in power, there were reports, we had done stories at the time, which had brought out with great detail these maze of companies which Mr. Bhujbal and his family had set up, through which they were receiving kickbacks in major contracts, the Maha Sadan, which was set up in Delhi, in other contracts that were given when he was PWD minister. So there is a lot of evidence that the Enforcement Directorate and the Anti-Corruption Bureau has garnered. I think it would be wrong to say that this is a political witch hunt. There is enough evidence to suggest that Chhagan Bhujbal has much to answer for, and I think the fact is that because, of course, the government's changed hands, that meant that the investigation, which was not really gathering momentum when Bhujbal was in power, finally has reached its logical conclusion today.
Thanks, Rajdeep, for joining us. I want to go across to Preeti Sharma Men of the Aam Aadmi Party. She's joining us on this broadcast amongst the prime complainants in this. Finally, I just saw a tweet where you're saying Satyam Eva Jayate. Finally, Chhagan Bhujbal arrested. Preeti?
Yes, absolutely. It's a great relief that our fight against corruption in Maharashtra has finally culminated in some justice. Both the previous NCP Congress government and the current BJP government has done everything possible to thwart any action on corruption. It is only because we filed a PIL in the Bombay High Court and the Chief Justice Mohit Shah appointed an SIT comprising of the ACB and the ED that we have reached this far. Had the Bombay High Court not been monitoring this case, ACB would have gone so slow that they would have not done anything. It is a constant admonishment of the Bombay High Court that has led for the ACB to file the FIRs, and after that they went to sleep again for 6 months, and then the ED was forced to take action, and they have taken action. So I'm so relieved that justice still prevails because of the High Courts and the Supreme Court of this country.
High Court's intervention. Preeti, thank you for joining us. India Today has been able to exclusively speak to Sharad Pawar, the chief of the NCP. Sahil Joshi has details about what Pawar had to say. Sahil.
See, first of all, let me tell you a little bit of background before I tell you what I spoke to Sharad Pawar about. Sharad Pawar just few days back had taken a press conference and clearly alleged what you were just mentioning a while back, that it's a political vendetta, and he had in his lifetime had never seen any government acting with a political vendetta when Samir Bhujbal was arrested. That time Chhagan Bhujbal was not in the country. When he returned back, he also took a press conference and charged the government with the same allegations. But now when I called Mr. Pawar, he had no idea that Chhagan Bhujbal has been arrested, but yes, he definitely knew that Chhagan Bhujbal has been called today by ED officials. So when I asked him about his allegations he had made before, he clearly said that right now the whole process is under investigation and it will be premature to say anything about it. But it's likely that Pawar will be making a kind of a statement tomorrow, because Chhagan Bhujbal is not a leader who cannot be spoken about, and he's a senior leader, and at this point of time Maharashtra Assembly is in session. The NCP leaders were aggressive against the BJP government on the issue of drought and issue of corruption by the allegations made on the senior minister Vinod Taude. And now when the party's senior leader arrested by ED, it looks like that NCP will have to go on the back foot.
Stay with me, Sahil. I want to go across to Nawab Malik of the NCP. He's joining us. The Enforcement Directorate believes they have a watertight case against Chhagan Bhujbal. Deeply embarrassing this for the NCP, where one of your senior most leaders, former Deputy Chief Minister, arrested for graft now, Mr. Malik.
Mr. Rahul, this is absolutely a vendetta politics. Since last 6-5 years, the BJP is propagating a false allegation against several leaders. In this case, he was supporting the inquiry. On the summon, always he was supporting. He went there, he was giving the information. It's not a Vijay that he will run away. There is a question of arresting him. If he can be charged directly also, that means it is proven that Bharatiya Janata Party want to misuse the power, and they are...
First and foremost, the Mumbai High Court itself is looking at this case. This has been going on for a very long time, so I don't think you can get away so conveniently by saying that this is political vendetta. There seems to be very strong evidence tracing the money back to the Bhujbal family.
Okay, this is ultimately, it's not a charge sheet. They can file a charge sheet against him.
Sure.
We'll fight the battle on the court, in the court of law. And we are very much hopeful. He has done nothing wrong. And ultimately, we will get a...
I'm going to leave it over there. Nawab Malik, thank you very much for joining us. And truly, this has to be proven in a court of law. We can't sit in judgment, but the very reassuring thing is that finally some action seems to be taken against the likes of a Vijay Mallya, against the likes of a Chhagan Bhujbal. If there is evidence, if these people have done wrong, then the law must come down on them. Make no mistake. And for very long in the Indian political establishment, in the Indian political system, that hasn't happened. Remember, there was pressure from within the BJP, from very senior levels, to dump the Shiv Sena because they were proving to be a troublesome ally and move with the NCP. At that time, Devendra Fadnavis said, no, I will not ally with the NCP. The NCP is the party we fought against when we were in opposition. We cannot now ally with them. We'll deal with the Shiv Sena. There are brothers, we'll deal with them, find some way of engaging them, but we will not tie up with the NCP. That decision seems to have come out to be a correct one. We're slipping in.
Well, this is perhaps the biggest makeover for the Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh till date. Loose-fitting, flappy khaki knickers have made way for brown trousers to help the organization achieve resonance.
पैसे वाले बाबू मेरा बजट बना दो, पैसे वाले बाबू मेरा बजट बना दो, बजट बना दो, बजट बना दो, पैसे वाले मेरा बजट तू बना